Okay, so folks, I've got with me a very hard to get man. Unfortunately, we've been planning this for quite a long time. We've got Canadian bluesman Spencer Mackenzie currently in front of us. You see around him all his musical instruments, his albums, the gear, but more especially the man who's coming out with a new album in February named Empty Chairs. And currently, 3 singles are currently available on Spotify. Frozen Hearts is the most recent one. So, Spence, when did you actually start doing the planification, the writing, and everything else for the new album?
Yeah, well, just wanted to say it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much. Very stoked. The beginning of this newest record that's coming out February 20th, really, there were some leftover songs, but taking that out of the equation, I would say that I started this record in the early spring of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as like getting together in a studio with my producer and I and showing him what I had, just me with an acoustic guitar. And that was kind of the first of it. Now, I didn't show him all the songs then, and I had written many after that, but that was kind of the first interaction where I kind of had some songs, and I went, okay, this is going to be the start of my newest record. I didn't, have Empty Chairs worked out yet. I didn't have lots of other songs worked out yet, but I had a bulk of songs. So yeah, then.
So, with everything that you presented to your producer, when did you actually get to the point where your nose was to the grindstone doing the recording officially for the current album?
Well, we did, by the fall of 2023, we had started recording a few songs.
Okay.
But then in 2024, we really kind of got our nose to the grindstone and started on like getting the rest of the songs done. And essentially our process, if you will, was kind of different from my first record, in that I did pre-production, like I mentioned, with him. I sent those songs out, just me acoustically, to the band that we had in. And then we did pre-production with the band, and then also did tracking with the band. So it was quite an in-depth process, but I would say in 2024, like mid-2024 is when we were kind of like working on things with the band, recording, getting the bed tracks, and then kind of after that came all the tracking guitars, retracking any vocals or any keys or anything like that. So 2024 was the busiest year of making this record.
Okay. And when did you decide on the actual title?
You know what? It is always one of those things. Like I saw an interview with Johnny Lang once, and he was like, I say I'm never going to do it. I say I'm going to come up with a creative title, but it always is the title of a song. You know what? I think that, like, I always thought that the title would be Empty Chairs, after the song I have on the record called Empty Chairs. And, but I never fully, like, got it, probably until, like, I was close to the end of putting the final touches on musically, so like backup vocals and like mixing and kind of getting to that area where you're starting to think about the order and all of that. And really it's kind of a protest song towards gun violence, and that's kind of the significance of the song. And the song Frozen Hearts also has a political protest as well, but I I think that Empty Chairs was kind of the heaviest, like lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of the most heavy. Like that's what I'd kind of say. Like, and I really also lyrically aside, just loved the song itself. I loved how it sounded. I love how it came together, and as far as also it starts the record as well. And I was like, well, what better way to name a record than the song that starts it?
Now, you've been playing at quite an early age. Can you take us back a bit to say when you started discovering that you had music in you?
Yeah, well, I picked up a guitar at 5. I didn't really play it much, but I that's kind of when I first was falling in love with music. And then around the age of 12, 13, I had my first serious teacher locally, and then from there, like a bit of backstory, my household is very musical, and my parents love music. My dad especially, he kind of, whether it be blues, classic rock, soul, anything of that kind of era, like he was born in the 60s, so like anything growing up in that era, he kind of had blasting through the house, hence my influences. And when I became 12 or 13, had my first serious teacher, and then it clicked for me when he said, well, you should go check out some Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I was like, who's that? I didn't, I would teach myself songs, but I wasn't quite aware yet. And then I was like, I don't know who that is. He's like, no, I think you will. Like, go listen to this record. And I was like, I know all of these songs. Like, it hit me from from the age of 5, let's say, around the house. Mind you, I'd always been a big Beatles fan, big Stones fan, a fan of anything classic rock, but the blues, like Stevie Ray, B.B. King, Hendrix, kind of like those classic guitar player influences all hit me at that age. And then from there on, it was just pedal to the metal, learning this and becoming my craft. And then by the time I was in mid high school, I thought of other career paths really, and there was other interests I had, but nothing really trumped music. Nothing really came close. Okay. It was always kind of and I had already started playing some pretty legit gigs by then, mm-hmm. Where it was enough to be oh, okay, no, this is something that needs to be taken very seriously. And from there, I kind of just never looked back.
So, with that experience from your childhood to now, and the new album giving way to, the last album was in 2023, I think.
2022, I think.
That's possible. I can't remember exactly the date because I just looked at it at a glance, and then I saw that you were coming out with a brand new album. But in the studio, were you the only person, or did you have cohorts that were adding music and assistance and doing fine-tuning on the writing?
On the writing?
Yeah.
On the writing particularly, I actually have a co-writer who's my dad. Oddly enough, you'll see on the record it's always co-written Rich Mackenzie. And now he's not a musical player or singer by any means, but he is extremely musical, and he's kind of a wealth of knowledge. And he wrote a few songs on this record. Okay. But then he kind of passed the torch along. The last record before this one, I wrote one song, and then from now it kind of shifted over, and he's written a few. I should say we've written a few together, and then there's been a few that I just kind of took ship on.
Oh, nice.
So from the writing perspective, I have that, and also in pre-production, my producer Ross Cicurlo, he would help me out in fine-tuning lyrics, I'd say, or kind of shaping something maybe, adding something to a verse, or maybe taking something out, or maybe rearranging a section, like as far as kind of music goes and production goes. But those are kind of the two most influential people. And then, like, as far as making the thing, we tracked it all as a band, myself, keys, drums, and bass. And then after the fact, layered over any guitar that I wanted or any vocals, and then backup vocals, really.
Okay, so basically it was a solo project where you decided to do layering on tracks.
Yeah, like anything that wasn't the band.
Yeah.
Was kind of or like a guitar, like anything that wasn't the band.
Yeah.
Was kind of added in after, as far like especially like a guitar solo for sure. Like tracking guitars is kind of the really fun part of making a record as well. And as you know, I'm sure talking to a lot of guitar players, and so it was like the tracks were the tracks.
Yeah.
But then I would add in after the fact for sure, especially with a lot of guitars and some vocals.
Yeah. Now that said, the fact that you did this is must have been tasking. But with the gigs that you're currently doing, because I know that unless you have something specific in place, I think that you're pretty much a solo guitar player, right? When you do your gigs. If you're going to be doing touring with the new album coming up, are you planning on bringing any other musical talent to actually assist you in making it a full-fledged band event?
Like I'll kind of be traveling as a 4-piece.
Okay.
So myself, piano or organ, and then drums and bass.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the set that I tend to travel with. Some, like the odd time I'll do a trio or duo gig.
Okay.
That's just kind of on, like, depending on gig, or like sometimes if it's an opening spot or something like that.
Okay.
But it's usually always the 4-piece.
Okay. When you're doing, we'll go with the 4-piece. Do you have anyone particularly as your side women or men that actually come along with you?
Yeah, I do have subs as well, because all the musicians I play with play in multiple different bands because they're very talented. But I travel a lot with Miles Evans Brana on keys. He plays on the record as well.
Okay.
But then outside of that, my drummer, I have Matt Burns. He's in Hamilton. I should mention also Miles is out of Toronto,
Okay.
Ontario. And then Matt Burns, he plays on 2 tracks on the record, but then the rest is a guy named Adam Cannon, who was in the studio that day.
Nice.
And who I've used on my previous records as well.
Okay.
And then, sorry to kind of off track that, but
That's
Matt,
okay.
Matt I've played with for a long time, and then as well as Justine Fisher on bass. She's phenomenal. From out west, but resides in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then I have a number of subs as well, like that I love to play with as well. Like a guy named Dave Patel on drums.
Nice.
Play with a lot. Andrew Marshall. They're both from the GTA Hamilton area, and a guy David Hollingshead, great organ player. But I would say those first 3 are kind of I've played with them for a long time.
Okay.
But in the studio, it definitely can change. Like my producer Ross, we had a really specific goal in mind for drums and bass, and we worked with Adam Cannon, and then also a great player named Stacy Shopswitz on most of the record.
Nice.
And we kind of really worked well with them on the last record and brought them in on this one. And so those are the 2 names who are playing rhythm section most of the record.
So you got yourself set. It's like having a black book of names and talents that you can call upon.
It could definitely kind of get that way, and especially like being in Canada, being in Ontario, like it's a lot different than the States or Europe, where like you can drive 2 hours and be in another state or be in another country, as far as that's concerned. So like lots of Canadian musicians will play in a lot of different acts because the logistics to kind of do a Canadian tour involve a lot of travel. It's like a lot of different back and forth. It's not like you can kind of drive 2 hours and be in a different state or a different province. So I kind of, I've been very fortunate to play with the people I have. But then, I definitely have a great list of subs who I've now, like, which is nice, who I've played with for a couple of years now. So it's like, it's really good. And they all know each other and we have a fun time.
Okay, so right now you're still in the GTA, if I remember correctly, or are you just outside?
Just kind of about 2 hours south of Toronto. I'm closer to Niagara Falls.
Okay, so you're I'm trying to think where you'd sit. What's the name of the city you're in?
I'm in a little town called Fort Erie, but the closest thing to that I would say is Niagara Falls.
Okay. I didn't have time to actually map out the geography when I drove up to Niagara Falls because we did it in 18 hours straight.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Believe me, I'm in the same boat of like people will ask me like, oh, like where are you going? I'm like here, and they're like, where's that? And you're like, I don't know. The GPS just tells me. Like I have the address, and I try my best to know where I am. But
so Fort Erie is currently giving you a lot of gigs, or is it mostly you have to travel a bit outside to actually go do your gigs?
I definitely travel outside of because Fort Erie is a really small town. It'd be like the it'd be like I think there's 40,000 people in Fort Erie.
Okay,
and I love it because it's such a small town. I do. When I have a new album coming out or I have something going on, I'll do a local show. And then I'll usually do one in Niagara region. And then I'll kind of hit the bigger places in Ontario, Toronto, Hamilton, London, Kitchener, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so have you tracked any possible venues, not venues, but festivals that you're going to be appearing in?
Right now, I kind of just have my my album release kind of the main focus on. So around the record that comes out February 20th. That's kind of what's going on right now. But then festivals are slowly coming in. Yeah.
Okay, well, folks, if you don't know Spencer Mackenzie, he's the beautiful man that we have in front of us. He's a Canadian bluesman, songwriter, singer, and guitarist, and also very well established with a musical family background. He also is one past Maple Blues winner. I think it was 2016, but he's been nominated for Junos and other other accolades that you can easily just carry around your neck. Now, with this new album coming out, I know that it's going to make probably the roster for the next blues. They no longer call it Maple Blues. I think it's Toronto Blues. And it's going to go through its judging components and whatnot once it's actually taken up on the list. But as a person, because I know that pretty much any musician is anything but the musician 100% of the time, do you have time for hobbies? Do you make time for anything that you might kind of tune out a bit and get re-energized with something else?
Definitely. I also I teach as well on the side, which is kind of really fun for me. I grew up with a great support system of teachers, so I do that as well.
Okay.
But then I I love just kind of hanging out with friends and family, and I keep them as close as I can, for sure. And I, play the odd sport here, maybe golf or go do something. But no, lots of music in my life, and music, friends, and family. That's kind of what I hold close.
Okay, and I'm trying to think what I'd like to actually ask. I do know that when it comes to guitar players, I always ask what kind of guitar that you prefer using.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's yours?
Yeah, well, in the last few years, I gravitated towards a Gibson Les Paul Standard. It's kind of like it's a newer one. It's a recent purchase of mine. I think I got it in 2022.
Okay.
It's what I've been touring with for the last little while, and it's great. It's kind of a 60s standard, so it's like a slimmer neck, really heavy guitar. And I got it to kind of replace my 335 here.
Okay.
That you could see. Because when I started flying to more gigs, I got really nervous kind of taking that hollow body guitar on planes. And I grew up, idolizing B.B. King, and then also more locally to where I am, this artist, Steve Strongman.
Oh, good old Steve.
Friend of mine. He has 3 335s, I think. He has a couple. So, and he has a track on my previous record, and I got a 335, and it was like the best day of my life, and I played that thing. I still do, but I wanted something that I didn't have to worry, or I could fit in a soft case, or that I could, if I had to check it on a plane, I wouldn't be as worried. And when I got the Les Paul,
yeah,
it has a little more bite than the 335. Like, it's the same pickups,
okay.
and they're both Gibsons, and they're phenomenal guitars, but it just has a little more bite to it, and I just fell in love with it. And it's kind of a little more in your face, and I've loved playing it for the last few years, and that's the main guitar. I switched out to a few, but really that kind of plays most of the set.
Okay. And for the strings, are you using any specific type?
Yeah, I'm using the D'Addario XS. I go 11 to 49. They're great strings, D'Addario. I've been playing them for about exclusively playing D'Addario's probably for the last 4 years.
Okay.
They really I like to change my strings as minimal as possible, just because the amount of just kind of having to set up the guitar and make sure it's okay, and I just kind of there'll be periods if I'm playing a lot or I'm not, or I'm recording and then I'm not, and the coated string, because lots of people don't like coated strings, they stay sound and they stay fresh for a really long time.
Okay.
As opposed to a few other coated strings, which are great, but they just kind of didn't stay as long as they should. And another thing about them is when I string it up, oftentimes I'll have to be bending the strings quite a bit for a few days just to really get it to feel good, but they adapt to the guitar fairly quickly. So yeah, D'Addario XS. It's kind of the coated string that came out after the is it NYXL? I think that's kind of their newest coated string.
Okay. So in the eventuality of you playing a gig and your Gibson blows a string, I'm assuming that you have an alternative that you always turn to.
Yeah, and the reality is when traveling, like I try to be as compact as possible up until hopefully this record comes out, and then I just have a team of 20 people. But so I travel with my Les Paul. That's number one.
Uh-huh.
I might break a string like every so often, and
Okay.
when I do, I have my other Les Paul. It's a studio that I have an open tuning for slide, so that kind of doesn't that really doesn't do me too good. But I have a telly that I play on one song, and I keep that in the bag. And then also I have you can see it right there, white Strat. That's kind of my like, if something was to go wrong on the Les Paul and the telly, I have that in the bag.
Okay.
Like at all times. And then that way I could, like, it's usually if I'm playing just one set, it's kind of nice I have like two fail safes. But usually it's the telly that'll I'll take the capo off the telly, play that, because tellies sound really good too.
Telecasters are masterful instruments. They're fun to play.
Oh yeah, workhorse.
So the last question I have for you is kind of off the wall. What's your favorite food dish?
My favorite food dish?
Yeah, now by that I mean if we gave you a buffet full of everything and anything that exists, is there one particular food that you'd always go for every single time?
I'd say pasta. Pasta's number one.
Pasta, so
like,
could penne,
like,
rigatoni, spaghetti, fettuccine, spaghettini, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, like I have a little bit of Italian heritage in my family, so there's so many different pastas I love, or like if it had to be like a dinner dish, probably like chicken parmesan pasta or something like that. Love that.
Well, I used to be a big pasta fan. I am still now, but I have to tweak it around to actually make it, because I grew up with my family who's French Canadian, for one. But they had a recipe that they got from a member of the family. It was a spicy spaghetti sauce that we always made in great batches and then bottled it up. And it had stew cubes with less fat. Had the tomatoes, basil. It had also a little red chili pepper that they put like 5 in them, just to give it heat, but not chili type heat. It was more just giving it that spicy bite that you get when you're eating it.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty much open to more savory dishes than spaghetti myself, or pasta dishes, depending on what it is.
Oh yeah.
Well, Spencer, thank you so much for taking time to actually make this happen, because I've been wanting to get you on my interview schedule for the longest time. And I know that you were busy and you were also working a part-time gig at the time. So it was almost logistically a nightmare trying to do it last year. But now that we've done it, I'm quite happy. And I hope that we'll see you in New Brunswick at one of the festivals anytime soon.
Hopefully I'll be back. I was at I remember playing at Blues de la Bay.
Yeah, that's a brand. It's a newest festival that's north. For those that don't know New Brunswick, if you look at the map, we're next to Maine, we're south of Quebec, and there's Newfoundland and PEI. But Blues la Bay is in the northeast corner of the province. Not completely, but pretty damn.
Yeah, it's kind of in that little cove.
Yeah, it's done in Petit Rocher, if I remember correctly. It's
Petit Rocher, yeah.
Yeah, it's
exactly where it is. But I appreciate the time, Nick. Thank you.
Well, that said, folks, that was Spencer. Thank you, Spencer. Have a nice one.
You as well.